अस्सलाम वालेकुम, मैं हूँ आरजे समानिया और रोज़ आप मुझे सुनते 12 से 3 हल्ला बोल शो पर रेडियो चिनार पर। और आज आप सोच रहे होंगे आरजे समानिया वाई शी इज़ आउटसाइड, मैं अपने स्टूडियो में क्यों नहीं हूँ, मैं शो नहीं कर रही हूँ। वेल एक स्पेशल रीज़न है जिसकी वजह से हम आज स्टूडियो में नहीं है और स्टूडियो से बाहर है। वेल रीज़न क्या है आपको आज हम बताएंगे नहीं। यूजुअली आप हमें सुन पाते, लेकिन जनाब आज आप हमें सुनेंगे नहीं, आप हमें देखेंगे। वेल आज आरजे समानिया स्टूडियो से बाहर इसलिए है क्योंकि आज हमारे साथ टेरिफाइंग डेंजरस पर्सनालिटी है। जी हाँ, अशफाक वानी, मार्शल आर्टिस्ट। अशफाक, अस्सलाम वालेकुम, आप कैसे हैं?
बिल्कुल वालेकुम रहमतुल्लाह, मैं बिल्कुल ठीक। आप कैसे हैं? आप ठीक?
मैं बिल्कुल ठीक हूँ। और सबसे पहले रेडियो चिनार पर आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है।
थैंक यू सो मच।
को किसी इंट्रोडक्शन की ज़रूरत नहीं है, आपका नाम ही आपकी इंट्रोडक्शन है, तो तब भी आप हमारे व्यूवर्स को, हमारे लिसनर्स को प्लीज़ टेल अस समथिंग अबाउट योरसेल्फ।
First and foremost, I would like to thank you for having me on your channel. It's really a pleasure for me, to be here. Myself, Ashfaq Wani, I'm the founder and director of Kashmir Combatives. That's a martial arts academy. It's a combat facility in district Baramulla, where we impart counter-violence training to the people. Besides, giving training to the people, I have also done masters in convergent journalism.
Wow.
And besides that, I hold black belt in 2 different martial arts. I'm a 3 times national champion, and I'm the first from Jammu and Kashmir who is trained in Israeli combat system that goes by the name Krav Maga.
वाह, और एनर्जी देकर ही आप सब लोग को समझ आ गया होगा कि मार्शल आर्टिस्ट है हमारे साथ आज। ओके, तो आपने कहा दैट यू हैव डन योर मास्टर्स इन कन्वर्जेंट जर्नलिज्म, देन व्हाई मार्शल आर्ट्स?
See, there's this thing called profession, and there's this thing called passion.
Yeah.
So what I believe is that the beauty of your life lies in when you make your passion into profession. So firstly, I got into journalism. It would be unfair to say that I left journalism and I'm doing martial arts.
Right.
I'm doing it. Both are like it's a parallel, going parallel to each other. I'm a journalist, but besides my profession, I consider myself to be the student of violence all the time. So I go with my passion. That's it.
आपने अभी एक बात कही that you are the first one from Jammu and Kashmir who got trained in Israeli combat system, right? So tell us something about that.
Well, there are various martial arts, throughout the world. Every country has its own martial arts. So some martial arts are focused on the traditional aspect of combat, where they promote culture, they promote their religion, and they promote their language and costumes. And then there are the martial arts that promote combat sports, that are geared towards the sports aspect of combat. And there are these countries that particularly and predominantly they train real world violence, and Krav Maga is one of the systems that emphasizes on real world violence. So basically in Jammu and Kashmir we have no Krav Maga. There is no official Krav Maga in Jammu and Kashmir, but I went outside state. I got trained in one of the India's elite combat academy, and that is why I have done my instructorship in Krav Maga. It was like year 2019, but then I'm not limited to Krav Maga only. I have trained in multiple martial arts. I have trained in Taekwondo, I have trained in Kung Fu, I have trained in Karate, I have trained in boxing, Jeet Kune Do, and Krav Maga. So what I believe is, I believe in the philosophy that you don't have to be limited to a certain way or certain system or certain school of thought. You grow when you expand your limitations, when you go beyond your limitations. So right now I don't endorse any system, be it Krav Maga, be it any system. I don't endorse any system. Right now my focus is completely on violence, and I have developed this while when I came back to Kashmir. I developed this program that goes by the name Counter Violence Training, that is purely based on the principles of combat and not on the systems and styles of martial arts.
Okay, wow, great. Well, at what point of time you decided नहीं मुझे मार्शल आर्ट्स में जाना है? Being a journalist, कोई चीज़ हिट कर जाती है and you thought no, I'm meant for martial arts. Journalism बाद में होता रहेगा.
I consider I'm a martial artist first, then I got into journalism. I started martial arts when I was just 6 years old. It's back in 1997. Actually, I belong to a sports family. My dad has been an athlete. He has been a best athlete of his times. So it's actually the genes that transfer. So once I was walking with my dad, I saw these guys doing martial arts and fancy stuff. So as a kid, you get fascinated with the fancy movements and the fancy stuff. It just gives you that kick, right?
Okay.
So that's the moment where I decided that I have to train martial arts. And right now, it has been 24 years, and I'm still learning, and training continues.
Well, talking about your training, there are many trainer. You see, बहुत से ऐसे यहाँ पर जो काम करते हैं, जो सिखाते हैं. So what makes you different?
the focus on the reality makes me different. There are various martial art academies in Kashmir. That's good. They are doing a great job. I like them. But the thing with me is, what I believe is, what I do is, it's completely based on the realities of violence. The rest of the martial art academies in Kashmir, the rest of the trainers, their focus is on the game, the sports version of martial arts, right? But unfortunately, I would like to say that the people who join martial arts, who join any academy for self-defense, they are getting paralyzed there. They don't get the realistic version of combat. They get the diluted version of martial arts. You see, when we talk about martial arts, the people who train in these academies, who train sports version of martial arts for self-defense, I believe this is a disaster.
Okay.
This is a disaster. Why? Because you are learning something that you won't be able to put to use when there is an adrenaline rush, when there is a stress, when there is a tunnel vision. When you are in the realistic version of combat. At that time, I believe it's pure gross motor based skills that that work at that time. So how am I different from the rest of the people in Kashmir? It's the focus on the reality.
Okay, you said that your focus right now is on violence. Okay, so what violence according to you is, and what you want to accomplish?
To me, violence is any physical force that is meant to hurt someone, that's meant to dominate, that's meant to inflict pain, or that is meant to kill somebody. So, in order to deal with violence, what I believe is that if you have to survive violence, if you have to survive any violent encounter, you have to be best at violence. That's the only way you can do it, because at that very particular moment, you are the first responder to the event. For example, if you have any problem in the life, you can call the experts who are experts of that particular problem, who will help you to solve the issue. You can definitely make a call to them. But once you are in a violent encounter, in that particular moment, it's you who has to protect yourself. Exactly. In that particular moment, you won't be able to call the police as well. So you got the phones, you got the gadgets at your home or with you. What you do, you just you protect them. You put on a tampered, you put on the glasses and everything. Why? Because you believe protection is must when your life is very important. What are you doing to protect yourself? That's where counter-violence training comes in.
Okay, care to show us right now? Right here?
Right here?
Yeah.
I can give a demo.
Yeah, please, please.
It's like this. So you take a stance, you go for a jab, elbow strike, knee, you move, okay? Now there's an opponent, you don't take a stance. For example, in real life, there are no stances, no positions. It happens where there's a kind of disorientation. When you talk about real life, it starts from the point of inception. So I'm here, for example, this is a knife in front of you, and I'm here. So I have to protect myself. First and foremost, I'll do is I'll bring myself out of the line of fire.
Okay.
Bam, I'll give a counter it.
Wow.
And I'll move.
ग्रेट. खुद को बचाना है. आपने अभी बात की वायलेंस की, राइट? तो कैसे कर सकते हैं वो?
First and foremost, we have to realize the fact that we have to give ourselves the permission to train. हमारे सोसाइटी में क्या है? The people, they are not getting into training. Right. They are just living the life. They are just living a dull life. Not most of them, but there are people who don't endorse fitness, who don't endorse the physical aspect of training. So my message to the people is that just get out of your homes. The growth lies outside the comfort zone. You have to get out first and foremost. You have to push yourself, make a mind that you need a training, because I believe every human being on this planet, they need to have this survival skill set. Because you see, to defend yourself or to defend your loved ones or to protect your loved ones, I think, inarguably, this is the single most important skill that we must possess. But unfortunately, this is the single most skill that we neglect.
Exactly. So what to do? क्या करना चाहिए?
The first and foremost thing is, just make a mindset that you have to train. First and foremost, realize the fact that your life is important. Right. Your life is a gift from your God. Your life is a gift from your parents. Don't let some random person take it away from you. So how will you do that? By training combat. Training is important because training matters.
My name is Khurshid Ahmed. By profession, I'm a professor. To talk about martial arts, I have my way of defining it. It's a fire inside and you need to give it a vent. But the vent should be very professional. So I always try to create the fighting gentleman. I have earned certain honors as well. I have been national player. I have been to international event. I earned gold medals there. So we started to attract more and more kids, and in that process, we conducted certain tournaments. And in one tournament, I was training the kids in high school Dewan Bagh. There was a small kid who was just watching us and trying to copy us. But see, a copy is copy. But I saw like the kid is very excited. He is a bit different. I could see light in the kid. And I called the kid and I asked him what is his name. So he said my name is Ashfaq Wani. तो थोड़ा जानना चाहा उसके बारे में, but he was too young. I trained him for 2 days and I saw a lot of improvements happening. जब मैंने improvements की इसमें गुंजाइश देखी तो I made up my mind that I should encourage this guy. I should hold his hand. I feel like the future of martial art is with him. So it was my day then. I was very popular. Everybody knew me, but a teacher has a vision. So with the help of that vision, I identified what I actually was looking for. So I found this guy, and to encourage him, to support him, to make him believe in himself, I decided to give him the best fighter award. And though he was good, but qualifying for the best fighter, there was different criteria. But I just compromised on the criteria and I gave him the best fighter award just to inspire him. Then he started training. He was not a regular student because he was a bit impulsive, sometimes for taekwondo, sometimes for karate. And his quest for something he was looking for, I was also not understanding what he actually is looking for. तो जब मैंने इसको जानने की कोशिश की, कभी ये ताइक्वांडो के पास, कभी इसने कराटे में टाइम निकाला, कभी बीच में कुंग फू, मैंने कहा इशफाक तुम चाहते क्या हो? तो ये चाहता था कि सब में से कुछ ना कुछ हो. मैंने कहा जो तुम चाहते हो ना वो तो मेरे पास पहले से ही है, क्योंकि जो हम सिखा रहे हैं ना, दैट इज जीत कोंडो, इट्स द एमलगम ऑफ ऑल बेस्ट मार्शल आर्ट्स. इसमें सब कुछ है, बट यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड इट. देन आई गिव हिम अपॉर्चुनिटी टू वॉन्डर अराउंड, टू लर्न, टू गो टू डिफरेंट प्लेसेस. देन ही वेंट फॉर ताइक्वांडो, वहाँ से ब्लैक बेल्ट इसका हुआ. इन कुंग फू ही ट्रेंड, वहाँ से इसका ब्लैक बेल्ट हुआ. तो आई थिंक आई एम द लास्ट वन जिसने इसको ब्लैक बेल्ट दिया होगा. बिकॉज टू मी, यू नो, ऑनरिंग समबडी विद अ ब्लैक बेल्ट, it is really difficult because I don't label black belt by the belt that they wear around. I mean, a black belt should be black belt by his will, by his training. His training should be tough. So finally, he tried to explore different martial artists and he went in the state of confusion. Then he came to me again and he said that I'm just confused what to do. My reply was that Ishfaq, I chose you to be confused. मैं चाहता था कि तुम कंफ्यूज हो और मेरे पास इस कंफ्यूजन का सलूशन भी है. Then I gave him material to understand and to read. So he started reading. जब इसने रीडिंग स्टार्ट की, उसके बाद इसका विजन नेचुरली बढ़ा. बिकॉज सी, अगर मैं कोई टेक्निक यूज़ करता हूँ मेरे हिसाब से होगी या मेरे सिचुएशन के हिसाब से होगी, तो हर एक इंसान की रिक्वायरमेंट अलग अलग होती है. हर एक इंसान की टेक्निक सिमिलर नहीं हो सकती. देयर आर सम कॉमन थिंग्स. कॉमन चीज़ें तो कॉमन है. देयर शुड बी अ स्ट्रक्चर फर्स्ट. एक स्ट्रक्चर में सबको जाना पड़ता है, वहाँ ट्रेन करना पड़ता है, ताकि जो हमारा फिजिकल पार्ट है या मसल मेमोरी हमारी बिल्ड हो जाए. बिकॉज दैट्स वेरी मैंडेटरी. यू कैन नॉट डू विदाउट a proper physical structure. So once you go into a structure, then you don't need a structure. Ashfaq he struggled a lot and he tried to understand how people react, what people want. People want different things and we're not going to meet the requirements of everybody. But we try to understand the requirement of the society so that in a certain setup, I mean the situation, they are at least able to defend themselves. There is no concept of protecting ourselves. ये नॉलेज है, ये मतलब ऐसा कुछ है नहीं कि इंसान को एक बुरा लेवल लगे. इससे इंसान को इज़्ज़त मिलती है, क्योंकि ये इज़्ज़त का काम है. ये इंसान को ज़िंदा रहना सिखाता है. That's all I have to say about it. Ashfaq is the future of modern martial arts in Kashmir, and he's my hope. He's the hope of everyone.
Okay, you have started your academy, Kashmir Combatives. So please tell us something about it.
It was back in 2007 when we started this academy, and this name this name came into the into the being in 2015, I guess. So Kashmir Combatives is actually a combat training facility in North Kashmir of district Baramulla, and our emphasis and our focus is always on the realistic version of combat. We train counter-violence training where we teach people how you can protect yourself. Now it doesn't only comes down to the physical aspect of it, because we believe counter-violence training is 90% mindset and it's 10% physical stuff, and that's purely gross motor based. So 90% physical stuff, that includes you should be able to know how to identify the threat. You should be able to recognize threat. You should be able to de-escalate it, and you should be able to walk away from it. You should be able to avoid it, because it's not a matter of ego. If you're fighting for the ego, then the outcome will be you are either in the jail or you're in the grave. So don't let your egos come in. When it's a matter of survival, when it's a matter of life and death, then only we try to get into the physical aspect of it. But first and foremost, our priority is not to get into the physical aspect of it. Finish the violence in the first phase only. That is the pre-conflict phase, where we try to de-escalate. Even if I have to run, I'll run. भागना बुज़दली नहीं है, भागना अक्लमंदी है.
Okay, जहाँ पर ज़रूरत पड़ती है. Well, how do you got the idea of starting this Kashmir competitions and why?
The fact is that back in 2007 we were more into traditional martial arts, we were more into combat sports. Then I realized the fact that there were the people who were organizing various self-defense camps. There were people I saw once a while. I saw a camp that they have a big banner and the name was like Women Empowerment through Self-Defense. So when I look at the banner, I was like happy. Come on, the great stuff is going in Kashmir. But then when I went inside, they were teaching total nonsense. They were teaching the stuff that you won't be able to pull out. For example, they are talking about women empowerment. I believe the real woman empowerment is to equip them with combat skill set. But then if you are teaching them the stuff that doesn't work in real life, you're paralyzing them. See, for example, there's a girl, suppose for example, may God forbid, she gets into a sexual assault.
Right.
So you are teaching her the stuff that does not, jo real life mein work nahi karega. So this is the thought, where I started, where I got this, motivation that I have to, because if I know the stuff, it's my responsibility to put forward it to my people.
Right, exactly.
I knew it, so I think it's my responsibility, because if I know about something, my responsibility is to put it forward. We don't make it, see, for if we talk about combat sports, if we talk about mixed martial arts or any combat sport, so usually the round longs up to like 5 minutes, or you have 5 rounds, or you have 3 minutes of round, but in real life you just got 3 seconds or 5 seconds where you have to neutralize a threat as quick as possible. So how I train my trainees is to hit where it hurts the most and finish the threat as quick as possible and go back home safe in one piece only.
Okay, so tell us something about your favorite martial arts.
My favorite martial artist is definitely, it would be Bruce Lee. I have been his fan from the time immemorial. I was a kid. I remember I was like replicating him. I was copying him from my childhood. I was like cutting my eyebrows like him.
Okay.
In one of the movies that goes by the name Enter the Dragon, Bruce Lee had those scars. So what I did is I got the red marker and I put those scars on my body. This was a kind of craze I had with Bruce Lee, and not only in terms of in style, but in terms of philosophy. Bruce Lee was a great philosopher. His philosophy, the book he wrote, that's called Tao of Jeet Kune Do. That's one of the magnificent books you can ever read when it comes to martial arts, because it's the Bruce Lee, who actually helped me to understand the realistic aspect of combat.
Okay.
Through his philosophy, I got to the realistic version of combat.
Wow, I must say, great personality to cherish. See, Ashfaq, when it comes to martial arts, self-defense, most of the people say that it can only keep you fit and healthy. But I guess in today's world, martial arts, self-defense, it plays an important role. So talking about girls especially, I guess when they are in trouble and when they feel that we are not safe, I guess martial arts can come in hand to save the girls. So what's your take on that?
See, that's what I'm saying. People, in Kashmir, there are people who think that martial arts can just keep you
Fit and healthy.
fit and healthy, but then it won't help you in real life. Even somehow I believe the thought. Somehow I believe the thought. Why? Because they are talking about the traditional martial arts. They have seen the people who trained in martial arts and they got beaten in the real life. That's the emphasis. That's why I lay emphasis on counter-violence. You have to train as you fight in the real world. You have to keep it as raw, as realistic as possible. So what I believe is, the people who get into counter-violence training, they will experience the reality of combat. Not necessarily the real combat, but it will be very close to the realistic aspect of combat. So that's my message. I want people, irrespective of, fighting, irrespective of combat, irrespective of self-defense, get out of your couch, at least do something. Do the physical activity, In the times of COVID, we all realize the fact that how being fit is important. So even if you're getting fit, that is good. But with somehow, when time passes, you'll try to understand, inculcate the warrior spirit, the martial arts spirit. So that's what I'm saying. When people get into counter-violence training predominantly, they will understand the realistic version of combat because they will train as realistically as possible. That's my take on it.
Okay, if we talk about our infrastructure, do you think that there are many loopholes in our system? That's why people are like, no, आप क्या करेंगे martial arts?
Unfortunately, it happens to be true. The world is growing so fast. When we look to the other states in India, there is like huge growth in infrastructure. But when we talk about Kashmir, unfortunately, merely talks are happening. So somehow our infrastructure lacks. Somehow our trained coach, certified coaches are not there. So the people, every now and then they train martial arts for like 10 days, 20 days, then they go out and start their own academies. Then with that process, they develop, they produce parasites, they produce would-be victims.
Okay, I know you're having a very busy schedule, so we won't take you much time. What would be your piece of advice to the people of Valley, especially to the youngsters of Baramulla?
My message to the people of Baramulla and to the people of Kashmir would be that first and foremost, realize the fact that your life is important. It's a gift from your parents. It's a gift from your God. Don't let some random person take it away from you. Why I'm laying emphasis on it? Because every now and then we hear the news that this guy got murdered, this guy got killed. Jaan itni sasti hui hai कि हर आए दिन there's a news of death, there's a news of murder, there's a news of suicide, happening all around the Kashmir right now. So my message for the people is that get out of your homes, become the fitness freak. The world is moving so far, and we're just, I believe we're 100 years back still. When it comes,
We're stuck.
We're stuck.
Completely.
We are not moving forward. So we have to push ourselves. Because ultimately it's me who has to make a change.
Right.
If I want a change in the society, I have to start from my own self. I have to get out, I have to train. When I go out, then I accompany 10 guys with me. When they go out, they accompany 10 more guys with them.
Right.
This is how the chain continues. And my message for the people of Kashmir would be that go out there, train self-defense, train martial arts, train whatever sport you like. First and foremost, try to be fit, because right now, there's an investment for your future. You be fit right now, you invest on yourself right now, great. You won't do it now. After 30 years, after 40 years, you will be, forcefully, you have to spend on yourself in medications and in medical stuff. Why? Because when you don't do the good stuff, the healthy stuff, you're naturally inviting more diseases, more problems, more depression, more stress, more anxiety. So my message is, live strong, be fit, go out there and stay strong all.
ये रेडियो चुनार के साथ जुड़कर, especially आरजे समानिया के साथ जुड़कर, how do you feel?
It's really, I can't put the words, I can't put this feeling in the words. It has been a great, time with you here. You came here all the way from your office.
Yeah.
You joined me with this. I believe this is for the first time you're witnessing combat,
Exactly,
The level of violence, maybe it's
Yeah.
controlled, but then it's for the first time you're witnessing it. So we had a great time with you. It's really a fun. May God bless you. May you shine. May Radio Chinar shine and grow in across all the streets and all the, areas of Kashmir.
Thank you so much, Ashfaq. It was an honor to have you. Thank you so
Thanks
much.
so much. Give me a fist bump.